Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Monday to you all. So it's been a great start to the week. Bitcoin was up a little bit here today. Miners did really good, considering that Bitcoin didn't do that well, but miners were up great today. We had a few miners that were up double digits. Well, nice to see there. We got a couple of stories we're going to talk about here. Hut 8, Iren, as well as Bitfarms providing their June production update. Right, we said that they would be probably like the first ones to do that. They did. So we'll get into all that. We'll take a look at Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners as well. But as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And there's my full disclosure for you guys, as always. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin and the miners. So Bitcoin right now is actually down a little bit here. Bitcoin was actually up a little bit better than what it is right now. It was up in the morning hours and into like the wee morning hours, I guess you could say. And then kind of came back down, but we're still up a little bit here. We're up 0.26 on the day, and now we're down a little bit here. So we're right at, what are we at? 62,830 is where we closed. We're right now at 62,795, so pretty close to that anyways. The only thing I'm seeing here, maybe a little bit of a worry sign here on Bitcoin is the RSI. The RSI right now is at roughly 43. Last time we were back here, you can see we were at a better price. We were at about 67,000. If we go even further back to here, I mean, maybe we could use that. We were down a little bit lower on it, so we are a little bit higher from there. But short time frame, we were higher on it. Maybe we will have a little bit of a pullback before we continue going back up. Yeah, right. July is usually a pretty good month for Bitcoin and the miners. We'll see if that's going to be the case this time around as well. But nonetheless, the miners are actually having a pretty good day today. Multiple miners were up in the double digits. We saw Argo being up 6%, Digital being up 6%, Bitdeer being up 3%, Bitfarms up 4%, Cypher 13%, Cleanspark was up nicely 12%, CORZ was up almost 6%, Digihost was up 5.5% roughly. DMG was actually down here a little bit, like 1%. Hive was up 4.5%. Hut was up a little bit, 1.7%. Iren was up nicely as well, 11.78%. Marathon, check this out. Marathon was up 13.65% today. I think that might have been the best performer except for Cypher. Cypher actually beat them out percentage-wise. And then Wolf down here as well. But Mawson was up 10%. Riot was up 8.8%. Stronghold was up 6.5%. And Wolf was up 17%. Wolf has had a nice run up here recently, and it continues to go up. I'm wondering if it's just in price discovery mode right now, trying to figure out where the top is on it for the short term. And then we might see a little bit of a pullback on that one, because right now it's just going like crazy on it, which is nice to see. Then also like the ETFs for the miners were up. WGMI was up 9%. BitQ was up 5.9%. DAP was up 6%. BKCH was up almost 8% as well. So really good day in the miners. Not much to complain about there. It was nice seeing the portfolio grow today instead of the continuation of downward trends that we've seen here in the past. So I'm hoping July is going to be a great month for us. But we'll see. Right time. We're very early on. We're only in the first day of July. We have a long ways to go before we see what happens there. But let's take a look at the stories that we do have here really quick. We'll get into those. So the first one is Hut 8 announces closing of the $150 million investment from Code 2. And that's all it really is here. It's just they're pleased to announce it has closed as previously announced $150 million convertible note investment from fund manager Code 2 Management. So they got it done, right? They're getting $150 million from that. Right, we'll have to see how they use it, what they do with it, how they grow their HPC AI business going forward. We'll have to see what kind of customers they bring on as well. And we'll, I guess, grade them at that point once we have some information on them. Okay, next here is Iren. Iren had a nice update today, right? I love seeing these, and I think that's why the stock did pretty good today. But Iren provided a business update, and here's what we have here. So, 2024 expansion fully funded now. This is great news, right? So the ATM is probably going to be getting close to being, I think they only use up half of it. We'll take a look at it here, but I think that's partially what they use. I didn't use it all up. But 425.3 million in cash, no debt right now. They are saying that 30 exahash and 510 megawatts of data centers in 2024 are fully funded, so that's great news there. And then additional cash buffer providing flexibility in respect of procurement items for 2025 plus expansion. So we do have a little bit more cash there as well for that. Prospective connection agreements for additional power capacity and other general purposes. Example in relation to potential power monetization activities, see below. So monetization program for power and land portfolio. Near-term focus on accelerating monetization opportunities for broader power and land portfolio, including the 1.4 gigawatt or 1,400 megawatt project in West Texas. All options are under consideration, including asset sales, co-location deals, joint ventures, build-to-suit data centers, as well as expansion of existing GPU fleet, which they use right now for HPC and AI things. I'm wondering if they provided it here. I think it was actually in their SEC filing potentially. Let's see here. Story continues. Let me see if it's down here. They provided what they actually did with the, let's see here. There it is. Cash of 425 million reflects USD equivalents, unaudited primarily. And this was cash equivalents and term deposits as of June 28th, 2024, plus ATM proceeds to be received first week of July 2024 from shares sold on prior to June 28th between May 15th and June 28th. The company raised 413 million in gross proceeds from the sale of 39.8 million shares. Remaining ATM capacity of 223.2 million. So total number of ordinary shares outstanding as of June, they don't want that. As of June 28th, 2024 is 186 million shares right now, including shares sold through the ATM on or prior June 28th. Okay, so that's the number that we really wanted to be to see what's going on there. But you can see remaining ATM capacity. Okay, so they have a remaining ATM capacity of 223 million right now. It's the company raised 413 million in gross proceeds from the sale of 39 remaining ATM capacity. So did they use up the remaining ATM capacity, or do they have a remaining ATM capacity there? That's the only question I have here. That's the one that kind of sounds a little weird to me. But we'll find out on that one. But nonetheless, 186 million shares right now that they have. If we look at Iren really quick here on my sheet here, that's what I use right now. They had at the end of Q1 when they reported that, let me see, scrolling down here, I had them at 140. So it looks like they had a little bit more than that, what they reported, based on, well, just the timing, I guess, is different. Plus, they probably diluted a little bit before that as well. But that's kind of what we have them at. So that gives them a market cap of 2.3 billion right now, which is really good as of today, where the stock ended. And then if we look at the market cap for them, comparing it to the other miners here as of today, you can see the Marathon is still the top one, followed by Cleanspark. You got Riot just slightly above Iren right now with 2.7. Then you got Iren at 2.3, CORZ Scientific 1.7, along with TeraWolf. TeraWolf has shot up here nicely recently. They're definitely getting valued a lot higher than they were in the past here. And then we got Cypher, Hut 8, BitDeer, Bitfarms, BitDigital, only in the 410 million range, Hive at 342 million range right there. So that's how all that has stacked up here. But again, nice to see that Iren is fully funded for the growth that they need this year. Usually the stocks do really well, so we'll see how well Iren's going to continue to pop here on this news. When we saw the news come out from Cleanspark, was about 6-9 months ago, when they said they were fully funded to 20 exahash, the stock definitely took off at that point as well. And if we look at Iren here really quick on the chart as well, we can see that Iren has been coming down a little bit here, but this news today is definitely pumping it back up here, and it kind of settled right around this range here at the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level, and we'll see if we can get back up to like the high of 1495 or even go beyond that potentially. We'll see. Okay, but that's it for Iren. Let's get into Bitfarms really quick. So Bitfarms came in more or less within my expectations of what we're going to see with them. I didn't think they were going to really reach 12 exahash fully installed and energized and everything else like that, which I've said in previous live streams as well. I was thinking if they can get close to, getting close to 11 exahash installed and then right around 10 exahash operational, I thought that would be good. And that's kind of more or less what we got here. But here's what the press release says. And also, I was surprised that they didn't provide an actual press release that went like to Yahoo and all that stuff where I was looking for it. So I had to actually find this on their website. But nonetheless, here's what we have here. So we continue to make progress on our fleet upgrades and new facility constructions, having installed over 39,000 new miners and de-racked over 39,000 old miners. So far this year, we exited the month with 11.4 exahash installed and 10.4 exahash operational and 25 watts per terahash efficiency. So that's really good there. In Paraguay, our Paso Pe facility was energized with 4 of the 5 warehouses and 6 of the 8 hydro containers fully operational, contributing 2.5 exahash with the remaining 0.6 exahash to be energized in July. That'll get them to basically 11 exahash at that point. Severe weather in June impacting both logistics and operations contributed to moderate delays and temporary underperformance of miners. Okay, so that's understandable there. Some things are just out of your control. Executing on our strategy to cost-effectively expand our U.S. operating footprint, Bitfarms entered into a new agreement to develop a 120-megawatt site in Sharon, Pennsylvania. And this is actually kind of new here from them. We haven't heard this before. The site is well-suited for high-intensity computing beyond Bitcoin mining, including, HPC, high-performance computing, and AI, artificial intelligence services. Where in the past we haven't really heard them say, and I think even I could be wrong on this. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think I heard Ben say that they're not really interested into AI or HPC side of things, but this is definitely a little bit of change around here for them. And maybe, I'm not against HPC and AI. I think as long as you got good customers, good revenues there as well, like we've seen with Core and Bit Digital, I think that makes sense, right? Put a little bit of your hash or your megawatts into use there. And then that way, maybe when we do have a bear market, if we have a bear market, it won't be as bad of a one for the companies that do have AI potentially, right? As long as they have a nice extended contract there. Going down here, let's see. This brings our 2025 power capacity target to 648 megawatts, representing 109 growth from our current capacity, with the Sharon site's ability to support 8 exahash alongside our recent acquisition of additional 100 megawatts in Paraguay. We are initiating 2025 guidance of over 35 exahash. So we're looking to get to over 35 exahash, which is great to hear. And then as additional opportunities in our pipeline come to fruition, we will update both our contracted power capacity and our 2025 exahash targets. We remain committed to pursuing similar strategic ventures aimed at delivering significant value to our shareholders. And, this is all great news, and this is why I'm bullish on Bitfarms, and I still think that they are way undervalued from where they really should be. Continuing on here, in June, the Paso Pe 70-watt megawatt substation was successfully energized, making the company's largest active facility by both hash rate and energy capacity. Shipping delays on the miners into Paraguay have resulted in temporary delay in installing the 600 petahash. These miners are now scheduled to be received, installed, and energized in July. So not a bad delay there, right? But here's what we got for the update. Total BTC earned was 189, which was a nice increase from the 156 in May. Month-end operating hash rate, 10.4. Nice increase here from the 7.5 that they had here. That's, what is that? Almost. That's like 2.9 exahash. So it's 3 exahash, roughly 3 exahash of growth here. Really good there to see that. Bitcoin sold here, 134. Also pretty good there. And then down here, they now have, well, it's way down here. Total liquidity of 194 million, including 139 million in cash at June 30th. So definitely have a good balance sheet here, right? A healthy balance sheet. And they have 905 BTC in treasury right now, which is valued at about, 55.2 million roughly. So really good things happening here on them. They're just not being valued for right now because all the FUD that's happening around the CEO, no CEO there right now. No, the hostile takeover by Riot as well. And I think that's keeping the stock down a little bit from where it really should be. But let's take a look at what we have here for Bitfarms really quick on their operation side of things. So if we look at them here on their statistics and all the data that I have on them, we have them at 411 million shares outstanding right now, roughly. Stock price at 268. They have a market cap of 1.1 billion right now. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been, it's been okay. It's been pretty good in some spots. They're up 11% from 12 weeks ago, up 48% from 8 weeks ago, and then 4 weeks they're up 7.1. Last week they were down 12.5 down, but a lot of miners were actually down last week as well. Let me see. I need to update this. This is wrong. 7.5 is not correct. It should be 10 point. Right there. It should be this number over here. 10.4 exahash right now. 20 exahash, or roughly to that 21. I think they're supposed to get to. Hash rate left about, I would say, what is that? 10.6 left roughly. Why is that one showing up only? Did I miss something or did I mix something up here? I think I did not include something in here. So let's go down here. We'll fix that really quick before I forget it. Going down here. Yep, there we go. I forgot to add in these that I moved out a little bit. Okay, now we're back up to 21 exahash. Perfect. Problem averted. So operationally, they're about 49% installed here. They have about 100% left. Hash rate growth going forward. 905 BTC HODL, 59 million based on today's Bitcoin price, roughly. And their HODL only contains, or the market cap contains only about 5.41% of their HODL right now. So really good low number there, which is kind of like what I like to see there. I don't like to see a huge number for that because then they're being valued more so on their HODL than operation side of things. But it seems like they're being valued on their operations more so than on their HODL. Going down to the BTC mined here. Nice uptick here, 189 from 156, which we talked about. They have been coming down here for a while, so have a lot of miners as well. But it's nice to see them actually get a jump in that, or an increase from May. May was the worst month that possibly all the miners will have here going forward, as long as they're growing, because we had the halving event in April, right? We saw the decline in Bitcoin being mined. Now we're having an increase here, and that's what I like to see. I'd like to see another increase here in July as well, right? And continuing that up forward as they continue to grow their hash rate going forward. Revenue here, 12.32 million, it looks like, based on the numbers here. That's a nice increase from the 10.1 that they had in May. That's going to help them out for the Q2 numbers here for them. BTC HODL has continued to grow here. It's slow, but it's growing, right? So it's always nice to see there as well. And then the hash rate difference, nice hash rate increase here in June. And we'll have more in July, obviously, as well. And then we'll see what their targets are for the rest of the months that are left. Bitcoin sold, they've been selling less and less, which is nice to see as well. And then BTC per access efficiency, 18.2. That's going to happen there. Bitcoin sold value is at 8.74 million. And then if we look at down here, institutions and analysts ratings, we did have actually 2 institutions decrease from them. So 187 right now. Shares went down a little bit here as well, not much, to 88.6 million, and then percentage went down a little bit as well to 22. But now we have 1 strong buy rating, 4 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, right? So it looks like we had an increase of about 2 analysts being added to it, but the price target stayed the same here for the high at $6. The average went down a little bit here to 934, and the low went down to 230 here, okay? And then as far as the machines that we're operating here, that's going to be a challenge trying to figure this out here. So I added in these here machines, the 180 terahash miners here looks like, and then the 352 terahash, which are the hydro miners as well in there. And then I don't know when they got those online, but the only way I could figure it out was like maybe running for a day or something like that. And the rest of their operations running for like 25.91 days. So a little bit surprised by that, by the curtailment there, but they did get approximately 1.169 million in BTC fees for the month of June. Based on what I was able to calculate, it came out to be like 9 point something% in fees for the month. So it was actually a pretty good month for fees for the miners as well. But that got us pretty close to the 12.321 million that I calculated up here based on the number of coins that they mine and everything else. So we should be pretty good there. And then going to where I think they should be valued at, I think they should be valued somewhere between 416 and 624 right now to be fairly valued. So I think they're still way undervalued from where they really should be on it. Okay, that is it. Yeah, overall, I mean, you guys know the stance that I have in Bitfarms here. I've been investing in them for a long time. I'm still continuing to invest in them. I bought some more shares last week as well. And I may buy some more again, possibly not this week, but maybe next week, when I have a little bit more capital to deploy into it. Dollar cost averaging some more into it. I think it's just because it's the way it's undervalued. I think there's still more upside to it. The only thing we have to get past is getting a new CEO and then getting Riot to drop the hostile takeover potentially. And at that point, I think the stock will possibly fly. But as long as they continue to do these kinds of things where they continue to increase their hash rate, grow nicely, improve efficiencies, those are all great things. And that's what I'm really looking forward to on it. Okay, but that's it. My little sales pitch here, as always. You guys know the drill on this as well. Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets. The link to that site is in the description in each video. If you guys want to take part in that, it's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots that are $5 or $4 as well. And if you pay the annual subscription, you get 10% off on it. Okay, that is it. That's my sales pitch. And thank you to all the Patreon members, to all you guys watching here. You guys help support what I do here. So, and that's why we get into Q&A side of things. I want to, give a little back as much as I can. So let's get into your questions here, and we'll see what you guys have to say. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to catch up here a little bit with the questions. Okay. Let's see. If Riot doesn't have a great June report this week, I will have lost all confidence in them to regain anywhere close to their former status. Yeah, we'll have to see what they come in and with the numbers on that, what their uptime is, things like that. I think a lot of people are looking forward to it. Let's see. Bitfarms had an amazing report. It was a good report. I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it was a good report. A lot of good growth that we had, right? We were a little bit behind from where they wanted to be in May. So June was a catch-up month here. They caught up quite nicely. It was a good month. Let's see. What day is Riot releasing June information? I think they're usually like maybe tomorrow or maybe Wednesday we might get that. Actually, Wednesday. I don't think we're going to get it Thursday. Thursday's 4th of July, so it's probably going to be closed. But maybe, if not, I would imagine by Friday at the latest. Let's see. Ryan asks, what do you think of Jason Less? Oh, geez. I don't know the guy personally. Just the times that I've heard him get interviewed and things like that. I think he has the best intentions of Riot and Riot shareholders in there, right? There's obviously this story swirling around there that he is a professional poker player or gambler. So maybe this has a little bit to do with trying to take over Bitfarms as well. I don't know. I did like the fact that he came out clean in Bryce's and Anthony's video a while back. This was probably going back now 2 months, I think it was, when he said, yes, they have operational issues at Rockdale. They have older machines that are not working like they should be. They're working to get those swapped out, right? They know they have to improve their uptime as well. So he's taking kind of ownership of it. But the other part that I didn't really like, and that's not really on him, but the company giving out a lot of stock-based compensation as well in Q1. I think that was just egregious there. So I don't really know the guy personally, just based on his operations, or if you look at his the way he's managing and operating the business. I wouldn't give him high marks on it right now. Let's see if he turns things around. At that point, I'll probably give him higher marks for that. Let's see. Para says, I bought 10,000 shares of Wolf and 10,000 shares of Bitfarms, both at $2. Wondering if I should cut 5,000 Wolf shares and add to Bitfarms. I know not financial advice, but any feedback would be appreciated. Thanks. I think, well, let's take a look at Wolf here really quick. Where does it stand on my numbers really quick as well? So we'll compare. We know Bitfarms, I think it should be at least like a 2x from where they are right now. Wolf right now looks like they're pretty well valued here based on what I'm just seeing on the numbers, right? So that's the way I would look at it. And so it's completely up to you, obviously. You have to look at it. If you look at also, let's go over here to the exahash maybe on the miners. I updated this today. Enterprise metrics. You can see that TeraWolf right now is definitely getting way more valued on per exahash, 217 million per exahash, right? For current operations. We'll have to see what they come in at for June, right? We don't have the number, but based on what they reported for May. And then you compare that to like Bitfarms. Bitfarms is only getting valued at 106 million, right? So they're getting double there on it, which kind of makes sense where I think Bitfarms should be at least 2x from where they are right now. And then if you look at future hash rate as well, TeraWolf is still being the most overvalued, it looks like, or being valued more so on the future hash rate, which they don't have much here this year, maybe more so into next year. And then if you look at Bitfarms, way under 100, at only 52 million, right? So that shows me that I think Bitfarms is still more undervalued than TeraWolf is right now. That's kind of the way I would look at it. But you got to do what you got to do, right? And I could be completely wrong on this. TeraWolf could continue to go way up on it, and my thoughts and my data analysis and thesis on this could be wrong, right? I don't think so, but it could be, right? You never know. Okay. Let's see. So BTC is showing strength right now. Do you think it breaks down? The only reason that makes me think it might break down is the RSI right now. The RSI is at the same spot where Bitcoin was previously at a higher spot, right? So that doesn't bode well for me there. We'll see. That might turn around. See, outside the FUD with Bitfarms, do you think being non-American hurts them with investors? I don't know. I mean, they've been around for so long. I don't think so. You have a company that's non-American, Iren, right? Iren has done really well also. Well, how did they get there? They got it there through operations, good execution on growth, and good guidelines for growth as well, right? That's kind of what catapulted them as well. And I would expect the same thing to happen in Bitfarms. So I don't think that's a reason there. Let's see here. Jane says, I think Riot's going to crush it with June numbers. Corsicana is on fire. You might be right. We'll have to see, right? Everything's going to be in the numbers. So we'll see the numbers. We'll be able to tell if they're growing, if their operations are much better, if their uptime is improving. We'll see all that in June. Let's see. Seb, Wolf is going to be the miner that surprises you the most this cycle. It could be. I'm not saying it won't, right? But right now, based on what I'm seeing here, it's just looking a little bit overvalued right now. Let's tally Cypher. Seb, what are your thoughts? Any patterns to be excited about? Cypher has great electricity costs, good operations. They have good growth into 2025, less so into 2024. They have a pretty good HODL as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things happening for them. I just wish they would have more growth this year. Let's see. His question, does Iren have 425 million on top of the 30 exahash? No, the 425 million is to fund the growth to 30 exahash, and then might have some left over to fund the growth into 2025 as well. That's the way I understood it, at least. You think TerraWolf can hit between 20 and 30 during this bull run? TerraWolf is, where's it at right now? It is at $5.21. That would be at least a 4 to 6x. Bitcoin goes up to 120,000, 150,000. I think it could probably get there. And then if they also have good growth, pay down the debt that they have, I think it could get there. Really wanted to ask, where do you see Iren at 40 exahash and Bitcoin at 200,000 conservatively? Of course. Oh, geez, if you're looking at 200,000 at that point, man, you're looking at, let's see, that would be roughly, what would it be, like 3x for Bitcoin. So at that point, I mean, you're looking at like probably 6 to 9x on where Iren is right now. And Iren is at, where's it at? What did it finish out today? Let's see, I got DMG showing up here. I probably just go over here. Iren right now is at 1262. So, I mean, if you're looking at 6 to 9, that's what, $72 potentially. To 9 would be over $100, I guess, somewhere around there. Let's see. What do you think Riot's report will do for the stock price based on good, bad, or average report? I think if it's good, it might start lifting the stock up. If it's bad, I think it's just going to probably chop like it has been chopping here a little bit. If it's average, geez, I don't know if it's average. I think we might still go up a little bit if it's even average. The market doesn't need much convincing there to get into Riot, I think. It's just looking for any kind of good news it could get. James says, hi, Seb. Good morning from Germany. Good morning to you as well. Thanks for coming in. I actually have family members in Germany. I have an aunt, an uncle, and my 2 cousins live in Germany. Let's see. Hi, Seb. What miners are the most undervalued currently? Currently, I would say, based on just what I'm seeing here with enterprise value and the value of the miners per exahash, if we look at it here, I would say still currently you could have possibly Core in there, Hive, Bitfarms, Digital has AI play, HPC. They only have like less than 3 exahash right now. So I would keep them maybe out of this a little bit right now. But those are the ones that I think are kind of the ones that are undervalued right now. Bitfarms, Riot, Core, and Hive potentially. Hive for sure. I mean, Hive is just way under there. We just need to see more growth from Hive on that one. Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Morning from Singapore. Good morning to you. Sorry if you covered this, but does Bitfarms getting into HPCI make you more or less bullish on them? I was bullish on them before the HPCI. Depending on what kind of customer they get, what are the contract terms, right? When are they going to be able to build that out? But definitely makes them more bullish, I think, even more so. Right. The big uptick with HPCI is that it's basically revenue that you can count on month after month if you have a nice, couple year contract. And it might help the companies that are mining HPC AI, not mining, but operating HPC AI. It might help them with the possible bear market they might have coming up in 18 months or something like that, where they might not drop the 80-90%. They might still drop, but they maybe drop only 40-50% instead of the 80-90%, right? So that might be something good for them there. See, Riot will be up in Corsicana, up and running in the next few weeks. Have to hold. I don't not believe retail Bitfarms shareholders will vote for a buyout. What are your thoughts, Sebastian? Yeah, I mean, retail I don't think is going to be going for the buyout. If Riot can get the other institutions and things like that to back them, I think we as retail, depending how much retail owns it, we might be out of luck there if that happens. Let's see. Ryan asks, how do other CEOs stand up in experience? Are you asking against, I'm guessing probably against Jason there. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I mean, if you look at just operations, execution, things like that, I think other management CEOs have done a better job. Specifically, if you look at Cleanspark, Iren, I mean, Bitfarms was doing so much better, but things have gone way downhill from them. Who else has done good? Cypher, right? Those guys have done really well. Their core, my gosh, Adam Sullivan, fantastic job there. So I would probably rate Jason currently based on what he's done in the last 18 months or so, lower than those guys. In your opinion, which miner has the best team running them? I would say right now, kind of like what I just talked about, Cleanspark, Iren, Bitfarms waiting on a CEO there. I can't say that, but the team that is in there right now is still executing and everything else, so you got to give them props for that a little bit. Core as well. There's another one, Cypher, TerraWolf as well. I would also add maybe Sam in there. Sam has a different viewpoint on this from BitDigital. He's looking to diversify his revenue streams, not be as what's the word I'm looking for? Reliant on Bitcoin, right? Where Bitcoin price fluctuates up and down, things like that. He wants to have more revenue streams. So I think he's done a pretty good job there with what he has, and being able to grow the AI, HPC stuff without even having infrastructure there is quite fantastic. So I think we might see some more good things from him as well. Hey, Seb, in your opinion, good entry for Bitfarms right now? I think so. I mean, if you can get a little bit lower, that'd be great, but I still think it's way undervalued from where it should be, right? That's just my opinion, but you got to do what you have to do. Let's see. Do you think if Riot announces that they are no longer going after Bitfarms, it will mean good news for Riot, or will the stock price go down? And same, how would that impact Bitfarms pump? So they have stated that they have taken off the $2.30 buyout bid, right, on that, but they're still interested in buying out the company in other ways, I guess, through acquisition of shares and things like that. If they came out of it and they just said that they're done with it and not going to pursue it, I think maybe at that point the stock might kind of pump a little bit here, because we've seen the opposite happen for Riot, where Riot stock has been coming down, whereas Bitfarms has been going up, right? So maybe the investors that are in Riot are not that happy with it, and maybe people have been getting out of it because of that. I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't have all the insight into how those shares are being traded and things like that. I keep seeing different projections for Cypher from $67 and $8 to $9. Where do you think it will land in the coming month or so? Cypher, where is it at right now? It is at $4.72. Based on my numbers for Cypher, and let's see here. Well, Cypher between $5 and $8, somewhere around there. So I think somewhere in that range, I think is going to be a pretty good value for them right now. Unless they come out with news that they're getting like an HPC AI customer or something like that. At that point, you can see here on the screen, that's kind of what I have for them right now. But yeah, I think that would be pretty good value for them. I mean, they're pretty well valued right now. Well, they're still a little bit undervalued, right? But they're getting better from where they were before. But they're valued at $1.4 billion right now with 296 million shares out, right? So they're definitely up there. They're not as low anymore as they were in the past. Let's see, going back here. Okay. Scott asks, is Cleanspark alive again? Yeah, I mean, today it did pretty good. It was up quite nicely, 12.35%, so it had a great day. And we might be seeing that kind of rotation again from some of the guys from the miners that have performed well here in the last couple of weeks. We're having that rotation back into some of the other miners that haven't performed as well. It could be happening that as well. Benjamin asks, please explain the TerraWolf's explosive price movements. I'm even trying to figure out what's going on there with that one. I mean, look at this. Let's see here. So this is the one. If we look at TerraWolf here, it has had a huge run up here. And it's, I mean, from here to here, it's, what is it up? Quite tremendously here. I think it's like one of the best performing stocks here in the last 52 weeks here from the lows. It's up 152% just in the last, what is that, roughly 19 trading days or so. I don't know if they're being rewarded for their low cost of electricity and then possibly getting into the HPC AI business where they're talking about building out data centers for that as well. Right, they also have the facility that's near the river or the lake, I can't remember. But they have access to plenty of water to cool data center if they needed to. So maybe they're getting valued on that side of things, more so than their operations of Bitcoin mining, potentially. Okay, that's kind of where I would think maybe that's coming from. Let's see, Bitfarms should buy DMG, which is another Bitcoin miner. But DMG is pretty small, though. DMG only has less than 2 exahash, right? I don't know what you'd be really getting there from that. I think them trying to build out and buy sites and things like that would be a better bet than trying to buy out DMG there. Let's see. If you have to choose Riot or Sato, where can I expect more gains? Thoughts on Sato futures? Thanks. I don't track Sato, so I don't know how they're performing here month to month and metrics and things like that. Riot, if they fix their operations, I think they can do very well going forward, right? I think they can get north of $60 without a problem once we get into a nice bull run here. Sato, I'm not sure. They're one of the smaller miners here as well. Those guys could get a nice uptick. I don't even know how many shares they have out there, but they could definitely get a nice run as well, right? Bitcoin going up, it's going to lift up everybody. Good evening, Sebastian. Unfortunately, around Bitfarms, not finding a CEO is disturbing. You should be their CEO. I don't have the experience to be a CEO. I mean, I can run the numbers on operations, see where things are going like that, but you need somebody that has experience, potentially with mergers, acquisitions, funding, all that stuff that goes into it, SEC rules, and that's not my forte. But I appreciate the vote of confidence, though. Do you think TeraWolf's moon trend is leading indicator for other miners to follow? Potentially, right? It could be also in just price discovery right now before it pulls back down some more. But we'll see. Let's see. Seb, you recommended CORZ, Iren, and Wolf. I bought all three, making a bundle. I'm staying long. Here, the big dog. Thanks. You're very welcome. I just kind of call it like I see it. I'm not gonna. I could be wrong on some stuff as well. But based on what I'm seeing, the valuations on things like that, those are usually pretty good tells to where things might be going pretty good there. Let's see. Do you believe in Elliott wave price prediction models? I've heard about those where you have the 5 different waves, right, or something like that. 5 A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've looked into those things. I don't know how much there is to it. Could the algorithms be playing on that? Potentially. Could they be playing on the Fibonacci retracements as well? Could be that too. I mean, there's a couple of things that they could be playing off of. I'm not sure. I'm not a day trader, so I really don't know. Let's see. Question: what do you think it will take Bitfarms to catch up to fair value, and what is holding me back? I mean, can't know what's holding back. Riot trying to do a hostile takeover on them, and then not having a CEO in place. That's also affecting them. I think if we can get a CEO in place, get Riot off our backs, I think the stock will do great then. So it might still be painful a couple of weeks, couple of months before that all clears up. We don't know when that's going to happen, but in the meantime, the shares are low in price. For me, it's a buying opportunity. What are your thoughts on BitDigital? So I spoke with Sam a little bit today, with everybody else from Wolf. Wolf was kind enough to ask me to join their space today. It was on at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So Sam was on there. I asked him a couple questions. I asked him questions on, going forward. They've been asset light in the past. Going forward, is he looking to buy infrastructure? He said yes. He said for HPC AI, yes, but not for Bitcoin mining. And then he also made some sense also with the HPC customers that they want to be nimble and be responsive to what they're looking for, right? So if they want to be in a different geographic location or something like that, he says that's where they'll go and use the hosting providers for that, but they want to be there for the customer. So I completely appreciate that. With that, I still think with them, they have a great customer right now, getting 97 million a year on that. They do have a small Bitcoin mining operations around a little less than 3 exahash right now. I would like them to see more growth in that as well. And I'd like to see them buy more infrastructure as well, because I think right now with them being asset light, everybody's talking about megawatts, how important that is. And if you have it, companies are getting valued more for it. And it does seem to be the case. I don't know how long it's going to last that way, but it's kind of what I'm seeing right now. So I think if they can do those things, buy infrastructure, get more customers in for the HPC AI, I think they're going to do very, very well going forward. Let's see. At what BTC price will miners break even or still be net positive after? Not just a cost of energy, but all expenses are accounted for. If miners BE differ greatly for Cleanspark, Bitfarms, Riot, Mara, break even point. Okay. That all depends on the miners. I'll try to run some numbers once we get the Q2 results. I want to see how they've been operating here after they've been through the halving cycle. After the halving cycle a little bit. It's not going to be a full month, but at least we're going to get something out of it so I can see where things are stacking up there. Plus, a lot of the miners have improved their efficiencies as well. A lot of the data that I have is from Q1, and at that point, like for Bitfarms and others, their efficiencies haven't been that great at that point. They've been installing and updating their machines, so that will improve their break-even numbers as well. So that will probably happen in about a month and a half to 2 months once they all report their quarterly results. I'll run the numbers on it at that point. James says, "Hi Seb, joined a bit late today. Now watching at 1.5x speed to catch up." All right, cool. I watch a lot of videos 1.5x as well. I get a lot of, not as much recently, but in the past I was getting a lot of comments that I speak too fast, that I need to slow down a little bit. But hopefully you guys are understanding me okay. Let's see, Mark says, "Bitfarms should do a 100% dilutive ATM and buy a bunch of small miners' facilities, thusly growing bigger than Riot can afford." I'd be fine with that. That's one approach, yeah. Something to think about there. Let's see. Is Bitfarms so undervalued because they dilute so much? 400 million shares. If they were at 200 million shares, they would have the price doubled. Yeah, but the market cap would still be the same, right? It doesn't really matter there. But you also have to take into consideration that Bitfarms has been one of the old dogs here. They've been around for a long time, since like 2017, 2018, whereas some of these other miners have gone public here within the last year, 2, 3 years, even 4 years or something like that. So that has to go into consideration as well. Going down here, has there been any news nearing the poison pill with Riot and Bitfarms? I haven't seen anything on that. I know they were in court last week, Riot, trying to battle that, but I haven't heard anything on that. If anybody here knows, please put it down in the comments. We'd definitely like to hear it. Ed says, "Hi Seb, I wasn't following Bitfarms much before. When did they lose their previous CEO? Do you think they will appoint one by end of July?" Oh, gosh, I hope they do. They lost their current CEO about a month and a half ago. It was a tricky situation. Well, not a tricky situation. It was kind of weird situation there. How at first they came out with news that he's going to be stepping down and he's going to be an interim CEO until they find a new one. And then I guess he came out with a lawsuit against them for like 27 million on Friday. And then on Monday they let him go. So not sure what's going on there. There's some drama back there as well. Let's see. Do you think Bitfarms price will move higher this month? I can't believe Wolf is at 5.2 and Bitfarms is at 266. I own both. I would like it to move up. I don't know if it's going to be the case. They've done a great job here in June. They need to be, I think, a little bit more proactive. And they're starting to become a little bit more proactive on Twitter, putting out pictures and things like that, facilities, and then racking and stacking machines. They just need to come out. If they get to, what are they installed at right now? Gosh, I can't remember. Whatever they're installed to right now, if they grow beyond that, they need to go, hey, we reached 12 exahash, we reached 13 exahash, we reached 15 exahash, right? They need to be more forthcoming, I think, with investors on that side of things. Do we see Cleanspark flipping Mara anytime this cycle? If Mara can't fix their operations, maybe we'll have them flip. Maybe. It's a big maybe. That's if, one, Marathon doesn't get to 50 exahash or nowhere near that. Cleanspark continues to grow to 32 exahash like they're planning to and get even further than that. At that point, maybe we might see it. Let's see here. If Jason buys Bitfarms and reinstage Jeffrey, will that cause all other miners to bend the knee? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't think he would hire Jeffrey unless Jeffrey was on his side trying to sell Bitfarms to Riot. Maybe that was the case. I'm not sure. Let's see. Would you consider buying Riot shares if they have a great report this week? If they have a great report, meaning their operations and uptime was much closer to 100%, possibly like above 90%, at that point, I would start to consider it. I would have to see how July comes in at. July and August are usually like their worst month for curtailing because of heat in Texas. So I need to see those numbers before we get into it. But that's kind of what I would look at. Operations, how are they doing? How are they growing? All that stuff would go into it. Let's see here. Benjamin says, I think you can't downplay the crucial role of a strong, united leadership team. I think that's hurting Bitfarms reflected in the price moment. I would agree with you there, right? We need a CEO there, but I think the rest of the people that are there have been doing actually a pretty good job considering that they don't have a CEO. They have an interim CEO, but they're still growing. They're still buying sites. They're looking to grow hash rate even more next year. So they're still, I think, doing all the right things there. It's just getting somebody at the helm. Do you think Bitfarms will exceed 12 exahash this month? What did they say they were at right now? Drawing a blank here. They are, what did they say? 11 point energized or installed, right? I think they said. We go by memory here. My memory's not always that great. 11.4 exahash installed, right? So if they should at least get to, I would think, probably like close to 12 exahash by the end of July here, if not even higher, depending on where they are in the process of building out the sites and everything else. Let's see here. Sam, the Allfather Son says Sam did say he has, I think, a very pregnant pipeline. Interesting choice of words. Hello. Yeah. So that is good, right? It's just what actually materializes from it. Let's see. What do you think will happen to Bitfarms price if Riot does take over? Well, depending on the agreed price at that point, where do they actually sign the deal on, right? Is it $3? Is it $4? I think the stock will probably rally up to that a little bit, and then they'll trade sideways for a while until they consummate the merger or the buyout, right? But I don't think that's going to happen. I still don't, 90% of me still believes that it's not going to happen. There's only 10% of me that thinks, okay, there might be a small chance that this goes actually through. And then David asks, what is Riot's target this year at 30 exahash? I think it's 31 exahash is their target. Let's see. HD Tech says, heard the spaces you were on today, the same megawatts equals 90% more revenue for HPC than BTC mining. Could be beneficial through the BTC bear market to keep these mines profitable. Yeah, I said that before. Sam said that basically of 1 megawatt HPC, you get the same amount of revenue as you would for 10 megawatts of Bitcoin mining. And hit the like button. Absolutely. Thank you. Let's see. Hey, Seb, do you think it's time to get away from Bitfarms and swing trade it to CORZ? Please advise. Thanks. That's your call. I'm personally in Bitfarms. I'm going to be buying more. I think CORZ is also a really good company there. I got into CORZ a little bit a couple of weeks ago. I haven't bought back more into it. I was hoping for a little bit of a dip. Haven't gotten that, but that is completely up to you. Currently, I see maybe, unless CORZ comes out with another customer for HPC or something like that, or they report that they're going to be growing to like 30 or 40 exahash by the end of this year. At that point, I think right now Bitfarms is still maybe a little bit more undervalued than CORZ is. Hey, so thanks again for all you do. You're very welcome. Can you talk about WGMI? I've been really liking this ETF and how the weighings change based upon Iren, Wolf, Bitfarms runs. Today, seeing Mara Cleanspark run was A+ change for it. So I'm in WGMI for my 401k profit sharing plan. I got into it back in, when was it, last year, 2023 in January. And this was when the company that I worked for allowed us to get into actually ETFs for the first time, where we could get into it ourselves. We could manage it. And luckily enough, that was pretty much the bear market of Bitcoin miners and everything else. And I went deep into, pretty much I sold 90% of all my mutual funds and things that I had in there. And I put it 90% into, the 90% that I had left over, I put it into WGMI and BitQ as well. And they have done fantastic for me over the last year and a half here. So I love it. But yeah, you probably want to do some more research on it as well. Check out the website. They have a whole list of there. But it's been doing great. It hasn't done as great as some of the miners that I have, but it's done really well for the ETF that I'm in. Let's see here. Can you do an Elliott wave analysis on Riot and Wolf? Sorry, I don't do Elliott waves. I'm not a day trader. I don't have time for that. But there's other channels that I'm sure they could do that easily. Let's see. Ryan says, hit the share button and copy the link. Appreciate it. Thank you. Ryan celebrates 15 months of membership. Just say something that you think, anything. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Ed says, I was listening to the X Space that you shared today. Has your thoughts about Bit Digital changed today after listening to Sam? Bit Digital is being, I think, is undervalued from where they really should be. The only thing that I would like to see is more growth and more of them buying their own infrastructure, right? They're asset light. They don't have any infrastructure right now. I think the miners that have infrastructure are doing HPC AI. they're getting valued more so than what we're seeing here with BitDigital right now. If we start seeing that kind of narrative, which he talked about today, that he wants to get into infrastructure, buy infrastructure, but only for HPC AI, at that point, it's going to become more appealing to me. But we'll see if I have any capital to put into it right now. I mean, basically, right now, anytime I'm buying a miner is basically what I can put into it, what I have cash left over after paying all expenses on the house and everything else, right? School, I'm still paying for school. So I'm ready for this bull run to get going here so I can pay off my school debt and be done with that. I've been paying for that for 10 years. Let's see here. I am in CORZ, Iren, Bitfarms, and Cleanspark. What other miner would you add if you found $2,000? Bitfarms. I mean, you got the one top of the best ones there already. I would maybe get into, she's after those. Look at maybe Riot. If Riot fixes their operations, that might be a good one there. BitDigital, if they do the infrastructure, right? If they buy infrastructure, things like that. There's quite a few miners that still maybe have good run-ups if they provide the good news going forward there. That's here. IBIT was up 5.5%, and the miners on average were up 8 to 9%. Do you think this will continue where for every BTC pump, the miners pump harder, or was it a one-time thing today? I'm not sure. I don't really follow IBIT, so I'm really not sure on that one. Let's see. Seb, I've been with you since the end of last bull market, and one thing I have noticed is that your opinion on when the peak of BTC will be in this cycle has moved from 2024 Q4 Q1 to later 20 true. Trying to think back, going all the way back then. Has moved out from 2024 Q4 Q1 to later 2025 true. It depends. It's a different cycle this time around. So that's kind of what the hard part that I'm trying to figure out with this cycle is, will we have a left aligned cycle where meaning it's going to happen faster than before, or we're going to have a right aligned cycle which can follow what happened before? And I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, we're still at 70,000 or less than 70,000 here. We're in already June or in July. We have a couple more months to go. Usually September, October are pretty good months for Bitcoin. I mean, could we get a nice pump to maybe 80, 90,000 at that point? So, I mean, we could possibly have a really rally like we had in 2021, right? Where we peaked in, what was it, April? Once we peaked at 63,000, then we went up again towards the end of the year into, was it November, December? I don't know if we're going to have a double top again, but we could possibly top out somewhere in 2025, I think. But we'll see. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody really knows where it's going. So we'll see. Do you think BitDigital is going to continue to jump, and is that a good buy in or too high, you think? Let's take a look at BitDigital here right now, on my charts at least. See where we got them at. Let's take a look at the screen here. So BitDigital, I think, is still undervalued. They're at $3.39. I think they should be somewhere between $4 and $6. So I think there's more room for them to run potentially as well, right? So going down here. If Riot buys Bitfarms, what does it mean for Riot and Bitfarms shareholders? Could it be a good thing or bad for shareholders of Riot and Bitfarms? That's the part I'm trying to figure out too. I think based on what I'm seeing here with Bitfarms, I think as a Bitfarms shareholder, so I might be a little biased on it, but I think with them, the growth that they have, I think there's more upside for me as a shareholder of Bitfarms to stay on our own. If we joined or if we got bought out by Riot, we would get Riot shares as well. Would Riot at that point rocket because of acquiring Bitfarms? Potentially could be, but I just don't know, right? One thing that I know about Bitfarms operations, they have been stellar throughout the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been. With Riot, their operations haven't been great in the last 18 months. So that's my concern there is, okay, they get Bitfarms, great operations there, but Riot's operations still are bad, right? If they don't fix them. Do you think Riot will reach its previous all-time high? If they fix their operations and then if they grow to where they're saying they can grow, I think they could. How well do you think Bitfarms will do, or sorry, BitDigital will do based on today's Sam's chat? I don't know. I don't know if that has a lot of impact on the stock prices in the next day. I mean, we only went for like what, really half an hour talking to him a little bit, and we had maybe 100 some plus people in there. I really don't know. Let's see here. Corey, thank you so much for the super chat. June 21 Bitfarms came out, but cool. June 2021 Bitfarms came out, but cool. What do you mean by June 2021 Bitfarms came out? Bitfarms was around, well, longer than that. I'm not sure what you mean by June, but thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. Do you think Wolf reaches its previous all-time high? If not, what's the reason? Dilution. When did it actually go public? I would have to look back up at it because the chart shows that it goes way back then. But I think they bought out a company or something like that to get the ticker, or the ticker was no longer used or something like that. So when they actually went, or did they go through a SPAC? I can't remember now. It's been a while. Remind me on that one if they went through SPAC, or when was the stock actually traded on NASDAQ. So you talked about that one already. Okay, Mark says, the hearing will take place tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time for Bitfarms versus Riot. Okay. Is the hearing aired live maybe? Is it accessible to listen in on? I don't know if that will be the case or not. If you know about that, let me know. Let's see. Do you think Riot will sell their Bitfarms stake, or will they continue to hold even if they don't successfully take them over completely? Well, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. If they don't go in after buying them, they could have the two options, right? They could sell, which would drive down the stock of Bitfarms, which they could do just to kind of get back at Bitfarms, right? Or they could hold on to the shares. They own 14.9% of it right now. If Bitcoin or if Bitfarms goes up 3 to 5x, well, they just made 3.3 or 5x on their money there. So that would be actually possibly better gains than holding it in Bitcoin. So it's just a matter of how they do it. Let's see here. Since all institutions are buying Bitcoin OTC, then what would be the move to skyrocket the price when they're suppressing it? Eventually, OTC is going to run out. There's only right now being, 450 Bitcoin being added a day. As long as demand outpaces supply, eventually they will run out, I think. Let's see. When do we find out if Riot will be able to put 20% without the poison pill? I know you said, but I can't find it find the info. Thanks. Let me see here. Who was it? Mark just said it. It's tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to find out tomorrow, but tomorrow's the hearing about it. See, David says, if the 10-to-1 is true in favor of HPC versus mining, seems like all the HPC miners would go up multiples more than normal mining companies if they get some lucrative contracts, right? It all depends on the contracts there. If you get a contract that somebody's going to help you front run the expenses that you're going to have to occur to build out the infrastructure, data centers and things like that, well then yeah, that might make more sense. But if you're the company that has to put out all the money, that becomes a little bit more challenging, more costly, and then maybe the margins are a little bit better, but you're also looking at possibly dilution in the beginning, unless you can get good debt on it or loans, right? It's definitely interesting, but right now, so 10-to-1. But what happens if Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000 at that point and stays for a while, right? At that point, is HPC still this profitable, or is Bitcoin more profitable at that point? Bitcoin we know is more volatile, where HPC is more steady. You have a contract, you get X amount, unless you screw up on something, and then you owe the customer something because you weren't able to meet the requirements. Let's see. Patrick says, Wolf, CP is about 1.74 billion with 8 exahash so far. Cypher CP is about 1.46 billion with about 7 exahash so far. If I'm right, Bitfarms is now 1.1 billion with 10.4. Way under value. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm seeing here with Bitfarms. Question. Why it's taken too long to hire a CEO for Bitfarms? Not having a CEO yet makes you feel they are trying to sell the company. From Jen Pell. Yeah, I mean, that could be. I always try to look at it also from the side standpoint of a CEO, potential CEO, right? If I'm going into a company and I hear that they might be getting bought out, how thrilled would I be to go in there and work with them for a couple months? Probably not very, right? So they really need to be able to present to a potential CEO, here's the path that they're going to do, here's the path that they're going forward, here's how they're going to be able to combat the hostile takeover with Riot, and maybe then they can possibly find one. But And then also, maybe it is the board there, right? Maybe the board is the issue. If people are interviewing there and they're seeing that the board is dysfunctional, maybe they don't want to get into it. So I don't know. It's a tough question. Wish we could be a fly on the wall in those board meetings. Let's see here. Do you have an opinion on BLQC? I do not. That's the first time I'm hearing that ticker symbol there. Which is a better buy right now, Cypher or Riot? I would say maybe. Maybe. Gosh, I don't know. That's a take a look at. I have to look at stuff here. Let me see. Cypher right now, I think it's a little bit more undervalued than Riot. But if Riot fixes their operations, I think there might be some upside there. So I would say it's close to a draw on that one right now, just based on what I'm seeing with it. Let's see here. When will Bitfarms 10x? I don't know if they're going to 10x unless Bitcoin goes like to 200,000 potentially. If Bitcoin goes like to 150,000 or something like that, we're still looking at maybe I would be happy with 5 to 6x on it. At that point, that would still be very well 6x from where they are right now. We're looking at probably $18 to $20 or something like that. That would make me happy. Hank says, thank you, Sebastian. Excellent show. Have a great night. Thanks, you too. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Hank's been with me for a long time. Geez, Hank, how long? You've been watching me probably for like now, what, a year and a half to 2 years, something like that? And we've been communicating in the background too a little bit. Let's see here. Sebastian, do you think Bitfarms will pump like crazy with low volume like Wolf? Gosh, I don't know. It'd be nice. Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat. Just say whatever you want. What is a question you have about the next step for the miners and any concerns across the industry? Let's see. Question you have about the next step for the miners. Well, I think the next step for the miners is just being able to, garner as much megawatts as they can, right? For all these guys. As we're seeing that megawatts is the big hurdle that a lot of them have to get past going forward, and the demand is not going to stop anytime soon. So I think the more they can buy there, I think that's it. And then maybe some of the miners maybe are being a little short-sighted on not getting into the HPC-AI business. Maybe, I don't know. Right, we'll have to see how it plays out. We're still very early on in HPC-AI. We only have really 2 big customers that have provided contracts with Core and Bit Digital as well. Everybody else is kind of fielding it a little bit right now. I don't know. It's tough to say. Let's see. How long do you see Riot trying it on with Bitfarms? I have no idea. I think eventually they're going to probably relent on it, but I just don't know when. They're going to probably run through the legal process that they can. If they don't get any progress there, they're probably going to abandon ship at that point. Yep, there you go. So HG Tech says, check out Freedom by 40 on X. Yeah, he does the Elliott waves. Thank you. And I do follow him on there, and I think he follows me as well. And he was also on Anthony's and Bryce's channel as well. Let's see. Amik says, thanks, Seb, for your thoughts. Much appreciated. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. Greatly appreciate you guys. I'm starting to catch up to all your questions here. Let's see. After Cleanspark bought Grid, it tanked 60%. So Grid tanked 60%. Yeah, I mean, Grid was on quite a rally there after the rumor came out. Let's see. Late to join tonight. We'll catch up later. Curious your thoughts on Soluna. Not a pure play BTC miner, but HPC is booming, and their mobile data centers model for cheap wind energy could be a good long term. Yeah, so I have some questions around that with their model there. They're using wind and solar. Can they also get electricity when the sun doesn't shine and the wind don't blow? That's the question I have there. And then are they looking at HPC AI that needs inference, or can they just do ones that don't need inference? If they do, I mean, that's pretty good there. But yeah, that one I have a lot of questions around their operations and their thought process going forward. Let's see here. 1S says, Mike from Iren discussed not selling off their energy too soon for HPC deals. Bit Digital appears to just want any kind of HPC business. That's mainly because Bit Digital doesn't have any infrastructure, right? So they don't own anything. They can go find hosting providers that will be happy to get a little bit of a premium, and they get a premium, and that's the way it works out for them. It's kind of cool. Not too bad of a model there. But definitely would like to see them get some infrastructure as well. Let's see. I think I heard Prager say that BTC needs to be 110 to 130,000 to compete with HPC. And that's kind of what we saw. Sam has said the same thing, but this is going back probably about a month or so ago. I asked him the question, like, okay, HPC is so profitable, where would Bitcoin need to be in price in order for that to be even? And he said right around 100,000 at that point. So now it might be 110, 130,000, somewhere around there. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to read some questions here, guys. So forgive me on the dead space or dead noise. Okay, here we go. Any thoughts on BitFuFu? They are recently listed cloud mining business with what appears to be a very strong financials, low liquidity stock. I don't have much insight into BitFuFu. I think I looked at them once a couple months back as they were either going public or being listed or something like that. Somebody asked about them at that point. I looked at them. I would need to do more research on that one, so I can't really comment on that one. Seb, how do I find out what BTC miners make up a pool? For example, Foundry pool, I think Cleanspark and Hut are in it, but what percentage and how do I find out that data? Well, you can kind of, if you can know which companies are in there, and I think some companies will even report it on their either 10Q statements or the annual statements, right? They might have a counterparty risk there, and that might be the counterparty risk to them, is the pools. But if you know how much the pool has and how much the miner has hash rate wise, you can figure out what the percentages of each one of those at that point. Let's see. Mahmoud says, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but BTC top around November, December this year. We see how much can it go for 6 months. Yeah, I mean, if we have a top, that's going to be definitely a left-aligned cycle this time around if it does that. Let's see here. John says, I think Bitfarms will merge with Riot and form a new entity. They're going to call it Riot Farms. That's what I would say. I'd call it Riot Farms. That'd be cool. But I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see. James says, I've been following Cantonese Cat for charting analysis. His analysis is quite spot on. He's on X and YouTube too. Okay, well, thank you for sharing with that with everybody. Let's see. All right. Thank you, Seb. Have a great night. Onwards and upwards. All right. I think, yeah, we're going to call it a night here. We've been going on for a little bit over an hour here. So that's usually our time to call it a day here. But again, thank you, everyone, for coming in here. Greatly appreciate you guys. As always, we'll see what happens tomorrow. We should get probably Cleanspark update tomorrow. We might get also, who else? Iren update tomorrow for their operations for June. And overall, we'll see where things are going that way. We'll see what Riot provides. Maybe Riot will come out early this time, swinging a little bit if they have good news. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Still, I'm hoping July is going to be a great month for us. Typically, historically, it has been a good month. But we'll see. But that's it. Again, thank you so much. Wish you guys have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.